Hi everyone, welcome to another stream of chess. Today we're gonna do some tactics. I'm actually going to a tournament tomorrow, so this is a good opportunity for me to sharpen my tactics ahead of some presumably tough games this weekend. We have Dayan in the chat. Hammer time, he says. Darkbug is an early bird with the yay. And we have Ghetto Porridge as well. How are you guys? I think I'm just gonna go for it. The tactics. It's a very warm, sunny day in Oslo. And I just had to close my window on account of it being a bit noisy on the street outside, but it's so warm. So I'm gonna try to stay hydrated and get through some tactics. And to me, it looks like we're gonna get an easy start. It seems like there's a lot of attacking pieces here for black. Surely one of these moves are gonna result in a checkmate. Bishop g2, bishop f5, queen g2, queen f5. So there's 3 checks in the position. Makes a lot of sense to do one of those 4 moves. So bishop g2 check, I think is my top choice. King h4, queen takes f6, followed by bishop f3. I win the queen. 2 rooks for the queen, but also the king is in trouble. It feels like there should be a solution there somewhere. Yeah, that feels right. Bishop g2 and then bishop f3, getting the queen. But I'm so much material down that winning the queen in itself is not going to be enough. But probably I'm winning more than the queen. Although I'm not entirely sure. Like check, king up, check on f3, maybe king g5. Now king g5, I can go queen e3. Yeah, no, it feels like this is going to be enough. I'm going to go for it. Okay, just back to h3. So it feels like the accurate move now is queen g2 and then take the queen. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then take this guy. And it's a solve. +2 points. That Thomas in the chat asks, what is today's goal? Getting to 3,200. I think that's a bit ambitious. But if I can get to like 3170, that would be amazing, I think. It's already a all-time high for me, 3137. So I'm pretty happy. Tacticos, says Zangetsu. That is correct. And I solved the first puzzle of the day, which I think is really rare. Normally I mess it up a little bit at the beginning. Rook d5 feels like a good possibility, but then maybe queen c3. Are there any other moves? Check, check. Queen a3 check, maybe something I should be aware of. I'm assuming rook takes g7 isn't really doing anything. He can probably just take that rook, or even take my rook on d8. So rook d5 makes a lot of sense because the rook is threatened and I can move it away while attacking his rook. So rook d5, maybe queen a3. I don't know if anything special is going on. Maybe it's just king d1. And just, you know, get on with the life. Rook d5, queen a3, king d1. Queen a1. It feels a little bit dangerous. I'm gonna admit that it's a little bit dangerous. But maybe not too dangerous. The thing is, I don't really see what other alternatives I have. Because this rook I gotta move anyhow. So he's always gonna have some checks on a3. Maybe rook d5, queen c3. Rook takes e5, then b2. b2, king b1, queen e1 check. King takes b2, queen b4 check. That might be a perpetual. Maybe I can go rook d5, queen c3, and just go king b1. It's not like he's really threatening anything. This one isn't going to do much. This one is under attack. Rook e8 is not going to work. It's got to be rook d5. Okay. That was easy. Okay, that was just bad on my part. Yeah, queen f8. Why not? I had some idea of why I didn't like it, but having seen it being the answer, I really don't understand what it was my objection was. Check, you go to the side. Nothing is going on. Queen a3 check. I guess you go king d1 maybe? No. King d1 doesn't work. Queen a3, king d2 maybe? Queen b4. Yeah, so queen a3, king d2, queen b4, then just c3. c3 is the key move, and black can take the bishop but gets checkmated on c8. Okay, that was so poor. But I'm just getting warmed up. New chance. We have a bishop. Maybe we can take this somehow. We have a rook, not optimally placed. There's a king we can try to attack, but I don't really see how that's gonna happen. I feel like the answer is something silly, like knight takes d6, rook takes d6, rook takes h2. And then you might just be winning on account of queen g2 next move. Yeah, it could be. I'm gonna do it. Yeah. Trust your instincts, kids. Do trust your instincts. Okay, a study. Are we going for a draw or are we going for the win? Even that is just a tough question. I'm not sure is the honest answer. Am I going for the draw or am I going for the win? You would think the draw, right? Because there's no stopping that pawn. And he's stopping my pawn. If somehow I can get my knight to d3 with a check, then maybe I can make a fork on the next move. Or maybe c4 with a check. Somehow getting to that a1 square. Yeah, I think I'm trying to make a draw. I cannot even find a way to stop the pawn. So seeing as how I'm not being able to stop the pawn, maybe I should start out by giving away c7. c7, knight takes c7. I don't know what the follow-up is, but losing that pawn will enable me to have some stalemate motives. Rockness, rook d8, and if king e on the e file, then rook e8 check, and then rook back. And I am so ashamed to say that I did not notice that my rook could come back that way. But on the other hand, even if I do get that pawn, it's just gonna be a draw with the two knights. Check, check. But maybe I can combine the two ideas. Like rook d8 check, king c5, c7. c7, knight takes c7, knight d3. What about rook to j1, says Tong Khan. I don't know. I'm seeing something with rook d8 check, king c5, knight d3, king takes c6, and then knight b4 is a draw. I'm a bit uncertain what happens on king b6 instead of king takes c6. And by a little bit uncertain, I mean I have no idea. Yeah, I think it's a draw puzzle. Something like rook d8, king c5. It's still not easy to see how I'm going to stop that pawn. If I give this check, then king b6. When he goes king c5, you have to play c7 pretty much, says Sirenic. Okay. That is not obvious, but let's go for it. C7 takes on C7. I'm really not sure what we accomplished by that. Maybe now knight d3 check. I don't see it. Maybe I'm just having a slow start to the day. Okay, rook d8, then knight a4. Knight a4, king takes c6, rook c8, knight c7. I don't see the follow-up. Yeah, so in your line, Jeffrey, with knight a4 check, rook c8 is met by knight c7. And I'm still having problems stopping that black pawn. But I think we agree that rook d8 has to be the first move. So I'm going to go for that. Okay, so king c5 is the point. Now if knight d3, then king b6 is the issue. And c7, you take on c7, and I don't really see what you accomplished. And that doesn't leave too many moves. So I can go c7, knight takes, knight d3 check. And if king c4, I might be able to play rook d4. I'm not sure it's good enough, but it looks very close. So there's that. Knight a4 takes. Check knight c7. I don't see that going anywhere. Check here, then king b6. And I'm stuck on king b6. So I guess it has to be c7 takes, and then knight d3. And then if king b6, king b6, Okay, so c7, knight takes c7, check, king c4, rook d4, king b5, rook b4, king a5. I have knight c1. So that's solved. So c7 takes, check. The only move I haven't solved is king b6. King b6, rook b8 check, king a7, and now knight b4 is pretty tempting. Knight b4, queens, knight c6 check, king a6. Knight back to b4, king a5. And it seems like the king is getting away. Check back, king a4, check, king a3. Yeah, okay, so c7 takes, check, king b6. I'm sure Magnus would find this, says Sirenic. Yeah, I agree. Magnus would definitely find this, but he's not currently having a sauna inside his apartment. I swear to God, it's so warm in Norway now, and the sun is shining on my window, and it makes it so warm. Yeah, so c7 takes, knight d3 check, king b6. I feel like I'm so close. Rook b8 check, king a7. It feels like I'm so close. Warm by Norwegian standards, says that Thomas. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. But Norwegian standards is the standard that I'm used to. Yeah, a warning for everyone. If you have checked with an engine and post the move in the chat, you will be timed out for a very long time. Rook a7 and rook b6. Crazy move, says Rockness. Rook b6. That makes no sense. How's it going? Asks Past Pawn. Well, right now it's not going very well. I'm struggling with this puzzle. I think the right move might be c7, knight takes c7, knight d3. But I don't see what I'm doing after king b6. King b6, rook check, king a7, and then knight b4. That's kind of how far I've gotten. And the black king seems to slip away. Aren't there only two moves to start? Yeah, no, I kind of already eliminated knight d3, king b6. So yeah, you could argue that c7 and knight a4 are my two only options. Knight a4, king takes c6. And there I'm stuck. So I think it has to be c7. c7 takes knight d3, king b6. But I don't see the follow-up after king b6. Had I seen a single idea that was close to working, I think I would have gone for it already. But right now, I'm just stuck. GG says that, Hammer, I'm sorry, but this puzzle has no solution, or my stockfish is buggy. Okay, you're not really filling me with confidence. Or maybe you are, actually. I cannot find the solution because there is none. That would be the greatest excuse ever. Let's just put c7 on the board then, says Sirenic. Both Sirenic and Jeffrey agree that there is a solution. Okay, let's see. Let's see what you got, guys. I don't see what I got after king b6. Check. King back. Stalemate. No. Ah, rook b7. I have rook b7. Rook b7. But then maybe he can just take it, actually. Maybe he can just take it. I don't know if I can play rook b7. Because takes, I'm not getting the pawn. I'm just stopping it from queening. At that point, I'm going to be a knight and a pawn down. Am I going to get this pawn? Maybe, but I'm not entirely sure. And the thing is, after rook b7 check, even king a8. Even king a8 seems good for black. Have you been chilling outside today? No, not really. I went for a little walk. I had some meetings in the morning and I walked back a kilometer, but mostly I've been staying away from the horrendous Norwegian summer heat. All of 25 Celsius outside. Yeah, Megat has the same idea as me. Knight b4 and rook b7 and knight c6. This is what I was considering, but I cannot really get it to work because the king seems to slip away along the a file. Rook d6, Johnny Boy likes, but I don't see the follow-up after king a7. Still this pawn, it's difficult to stop. I guess we're gonna go with this check. So this is my main idea, and then queens, and you get this check. Check. But the thing is, you run out of checks pretty quickly. And then what are you gonna do? This move has been suggested. Number one, there's a problem that he might be able to take it and then win with an extra knight and a pawn, depending on whether I get to the pawn in time. I guess probably that's a draw. So rook b7, but then king a8 is also a problem. Because after king a8, I still have no way of stopping the pawn from queening. Knight b4. Knight c5. Knight c1. I don't see a single move that makes sense. Rook b7, king a8. What am I going to do next? Yeah, I already gave a warning. People posting the answer either with engine help or after they're 100% they got it will be timed out. Knight d4. Knight d4 at the end. Yeah, that feels right. Yeah, that feels right. Okay, next puzzle. I'm not gonna spend half an hour on this one. Or at least, I hope not. Maybe not jinx myself. Okay, so what is going on? Is there any good reason as to why I should not be taking this knight? Well, I can give this check and this check in between. I'm not sure whether I want to, but let's takes, king, takes, move, king, takes, move. I mean, is that not just a win? Takes. Oh, he goes king e6. Okay, king e6 is a problem. Okay. How about knight e3, king d3, takes, king here, and then I win the pawn race. So knight e3 looking like a good move right now. Knight e3, king takes c3. I take this one. You take this guy. I go here. Then I guess king c3. I should be correct. I'm not even gonna bother calculating. That should be correct. No calculations needed. Okay, next one. This guy is hanging. So how about I take this guy and then take the bishop. That was not the most difficult 4 points I've ever made. Sometimes you just gotta take your opponent's pieces. Don't make it too complicated. Just take those pieces. f6. Rook d6 is extremely tempting. But rook d6 maybe castles? No. Rook d6 is so tempting. Rook d6, maybe knight d5. Yeah, I guess rook d6, knight d5. I can also go queen d6. Queen d6 is also interesting. Queen d6, he probably has to take on g5. Queen d6 takes on g5. And then rook c7 is just winning instantly. So queen d6. Any defense? Not that I can see. And I'm preventing castling. My king isn't really in trouble. Maybe there's knight d5, but queen d6, knight d5 takes on e6. Knight in between, and then move the bishop is completely winning. What was my idea again? Yeah, it was not to take this one, but to go here. Yeah. Got it. Why am I not getting a congratulations on having solved the puzzle? I thought I solved it. Should I be taking this guy? Why do I still have to make moves? I'm a little bit upset. Take this guy seems pretty good. I'm gonna take that guy. Okay, 6 points! 6 points for Hammer. What is going on? I had one terrible puzzle, which I lost 11 points, but now it's going way better. Looking snazzy, Jon Ludwig, says the man from Utrecht. Hammers, Groger is giving in the chat. Hammer time, yeah, that's right. On a streak right now. Queen g4. So knight c2 at some moment feels pretty good. But should I exchange a couple of times on e2? So I can take, and then go knight c2. Yeah, but then king d2, yeah, it's not good. I can go c4. I can go queen e5. Queen e5 and then queen takes b2. That looks very strong. No, that actually looks very strong. Because then when the king goes back, you have to give up the rook. Yeah, and here I can take this one, right? Should I be taking this one? This feels easier to me. But this one also looks good. This is very good. This is also pretty good, but not as good. You know what? I'm gonna take this one. +1. Thank you. We need Fortnite at some point, says Aquila. Yeah, no, I'm doing some tactics now because I'm going away for a tournament in the weekend. and then I'm traveling for a week, and then I have another tournament the weekend after that. So I'm actually having a pretty busy season right now. And as Bart Laura comments in the chat, my Fortnite game has had some issues. It keeps shutting down in the middle of games. So I think I'm gonna have a Fortnite break and do some chess for some weeks. Man from Utrecht says that I like these tactics streams. They're my favorite regular feature. Well, thank you. I'll make sure to make more of those. What tournaments? Asks Groger. It is the Norwegian Team Championship in Bergen this weekend. So I'm playing for my team, the Oslo Chess Club. And among our fierce rivals are Vålerenga Schakklubb, who have recently signed Magnus Carlsen to their team. So they're pretty strong. And probably he's not going to play this weekend, but there are speculations he will play for them during the European Clubs Cup. And then the weekend after that, well, I'm going to Lithuania next week to see the new Schmilite Nielsen baby. And then I'm going to Denmark for the Danish Rapid Team Championship. So I'm going to be back in Oslo actually in 2 weeks. Tuesday in 2 weeks. Where are the tournaments? Asks Chira. So the Norwegian Championship in Bergen. It's at the Edvard Grieg Quality Hotel or something. It's in the outskirts, close to the airport. And the European the European Club Championship, I have no idea where it's being held. It's being held like a month before the World Championship match. So there's speculation that Magnus will have his last tournament before the match with Vålerenga. And the Danish Rapid Team Championship is in Svendborg, which is a city I have never heard of, other than that I have been there previously for other Danish chess tournaments. Okay, is it just my counting or am I a piece up? I think I'm a piece up. You would think I could win with a piece up. But this guy is hanging. So queen b3 looks like a huge contender for the correct solution. Queen b3 looking pretty good. Knight c7, knight. Can I move the knight somewhere? Maybe knight c5 actually. Knight c5. And if you take, then I go rook a8. And I win a piece back. So knight c5, maybe knight g4. And then rook a8. Queen c7. And then rook a4 seems, no, knight a4 seems to leave white with a piece up, which is good. Knight c5, knight g4, rook a8, queen c7, knight to a4. So are we saying that we would rather do this than play queen b3, which just looks like an extremely good move? I guess yes. Yes, we are saying that. I'm not sure it's the right call, but there are some arguments to be made in its defense. Queen e7 check, you have to go king h6. And check. Back. You cover. Check. Back. I don't know. I'm probably queen b3 is also winning. Queen b3 looks winning. Knight c5 takes. Rook a8 should be winning. But this sequence is probably also winning. Check. Any idea what the highest tactics trainer rating is on chess.com? I think it's quite a bit. I don't think I'm anywhere close. Queen b3 takes, king g7, queen e7, king h6. Now, I have a very difficult time believing that the king on h6 is not getting checkmated. But it's not like I see the solution right now. I mean, it looks good, but I don't see how to finish it. So therefore, I'm gonna go with the fancy, possibly unnecessarily complicated knight to c5. On the other hand, knight to c5, then there's queen c7. Queen c7. Queen c7. What's gonna happen there? Knight c5, queen c7. That seems to be a problem. A big problem. So I guess we're going queen b3. There's bishop f1. There's bishop f1. There's bishop f1. Okay, let's see this. Here. Yeah, because I was only calculating, I was not calculating knight f7. I was calculating king g7. But then there's queen e7 check, king f6, rook a7, rook c1, bishop f1, takes on f1, then king g2. And I get away from the mating pattern, and then I'm having some mating threats of my own. Whereas this move is just walking into bishop a8. The thing is that bishop a8 is rook a8 is a good move, but even bishop d5 might be even better. Also, h5 is very strong as well. But I think in this instance, I'm just gonna go grab the queen. He has some chances of making a fortress if he can protect the pawn on b5. But I think he's not able to do that. Rook a8 takes. And then something like, actually maybe he is able to do that. Bishop d5 is also such a strong move. I can even go queen f6 afterwards and just stand there. There's nothing black can do. It makes more sense doing the domination with bishop d5, but at the same time, since this is a tactics exercise, you get really into playing rook a8 to get the instant win. But rook a8 takes. If I cannot get the pawn on b5, then I'm probably not going to win that game. And I don't see how to get that pawn. By force. Maybe in the long run, but not by force. Bishop d5 is also such a good move. Bishop d5 is completely winning. But it doesn't have the ring of puzzle to it. Bishop d5, queen c7, queen f6. Black cannot move a single piece. You would think that's enough to win the game. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick up the queen. Just take the queen, says Ancient Attack. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go on the analysis board on this one. I'm gonna go on the analysis board because I have a strong feeling. Okay, so good spotting. Knight c5 was almost a good move, but then queen c7 is ruining everything. So my main line was knight g5, rook a8, queen c7, and then knight a4. It's very cute. This was pretty cute in my opinion, and it's winning for white. But instead there's queen c7, and at this point white loses the pawn on c5. So that was not the answer. The answer was much simpler. Just go here, take this one. After king g7, which was my main line, I think I was going for queen e7 check, king h6, and now I had discovered that rook a7 check, and then bishop f1 was a possibility. Although even here you have some counterplay with the queen down. So here rook a8 feels actually a bit wrong to me. Yeah, even the computer agrees. Bishop d5 is a stronger move. Bishop d5 followed by queen f6. I said it! I said it, and the computer agrees. Bishop d5 is the stronger move. Don't get greedy and just take the queen. Play for domination. Bishop d5, completely tying black down. I think I got that spot on. The computer the puzzle wanted me to go grab the queen, whereas in practical play, if this wasn't a puzzle, I think I would have gone bishop d5, and I would have been correct. Well, it says queen f6 followed by bishop d5. It's the exact same variation as if you play bishop d5 immediately. Okay, so we're going back to the puzzle. And thank you to Segiman for the 4-month resub. We got ourselves another mating puzzle, and this time there's no queen for black, but there is a pretty strong attack going on. So I'm gonna say just b3 is very likely to be the solution. b3 takes, check, check. That doesn't work. Rook here, maybe? So I gotta make sure that he doesn't run down king a4, king b3. That is kind of the main thing I need to prevent right here. So b3 seems tempting. b3, queen takes f6. Yeah, that's not gonna work actually. Okay, so how about this? Rook e5, and if king a4, then I go b3. It's not obvious that works, but it's pretty close. So rook e5, king a4, b3. But that's also threatening rook b4 check. Yeah, so that works. So rook e5, you have to go king a6. And gradually I'm luring the king further and further towards its own death. Rook e5 check, king a6. How about something simple like rook b5? Rook b5, queen takes f6. Check with the bishop, king takes a7. Check on b7. King a6, check on d7, king a5. Rook to a3. a7, checkmate. Check, king down, rook b5. Bishop e3. Check, check. And if you just give away the pawn on a7, there's going to be checkmate on a8. Yeah, that I cannot. It feels to me, it feels like there should be multiple ways to checkmate, but this one is one of them. And I was correct. Okay, so there's a threat of queen takes h2. There's a big threat of queen takes h2, but I can give checks. Check, 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 and checkmate on a4 at the end. That has got to be correct. Check, 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 and checkmate. Those puzzles are not very difficult because it's just, you gotta do something about the threat on h2. So as long as you can just check all the way, you can usually solve it. Knight e6, very tempting. f6, also very tempting. f6, extremely tempting. f6, rook takes f6, give a queen check, king f7. The thing is, white is an exchange up. So if you have the inclinations to make things complicated in this position, just, you know, don't do it. Just go knight e6. I'm an exchange up. Knight e6 is securing me increased attacking chances. There's some rook d7 in some variations. Queen h. I'm just going for it. Just go for it. Trust your instincts. Don't bother with these f6 madman theories. Just the knight was threatened. You get it in an attacking position and you open up the diagonal for the bishop. Okay, checkmating patterns. Do I go g5 or do I go rook g1? I'm gonna say I go g4, and I'm gonna have checkmate in 3 moves. Are you going to object? I don't think so. Rook g1 is, yeah, but then you just take this one. No, I'm going g5. Then I'm going g4. And you can resign. Okay, I'm very unhappy right now. I was on such a roll. But my way is also winning. Apparently it's not. Really? G4 is not winning? I find that hard to believe. Maybe, I guess. Wow. That hurts. I got too cocky. I got too cocky. My bad. Okay, so rook f1 is winning a queen. But the big question is whether queen takes g2 is winning the king. Because if we have the choice between winning the queen and winning the king, we're gonna go for the king. And we win 6 points for going for the king. Why wasn't g4 winning, asks Bebop. I think basically it's because then the white king would be able to actively help the white passed pawns. Whereas in the line with f5, the white king is still stuck in the corner. So I think that's the main difference, that the king is able to help the white passed pawns. And he had quite a few of them. There were like 4 white passed pawns who were doing nothing with the king in the corner. But in my line, after sacrificing the rook, the king would be able to walk into the center. Got the points back immediately. Yeah, that feels good. And honestly, this doesn't feel very difficult. I think there's a trap that after king here, then maybe king c f6 is a draw. I think probably that's the trap. Or maybe the trap is that I need to go to g5. Now I actually got insecure. King f4, king f6. Rook a1. g6, check. King f7. This isn't supposed to be very complicated. What is the difference between king e4 and king f4? King e4, g6, king f5, king f7. It's almost the same as king f4, king. I feel like this is the kind of kids endgame I should know by heart. And now I'm a bit ashamed that I don't understand what's going on. Or at the very least, I don't understand what the problem is. The knight on the G file? It's a loss, right? Knight check, king to the side, knight h6. Maybe it's a draw. Well, it's not like I can really stop that. King f4, king f6. I guess maybe there's like king e4, g6, king e5. Yeah, that's it. Don't go on the F file because that allows king f7 or king f6. So stay on the E file because then you have this check. So king e4, g6, king e5, check. But that doesn't help. How does that help? King f7? Check. King e7? What is going on? Check. I feel like I'm revealing to the world that I don't know basic things. When he promotes with a knight on the g file with a check, is it a draw or is it a win? I think it's a draw, but if I'm wrong, that's hugely embarrassing. But the thing is also, there are so many different ways I can get the position where white promotes to a knight. So it doesn't really make sense. If this is a puzzle, it doesn't make sense that that is the solution. I should be able to stop the pawn before it promotes, because there's like 2 or 3 different lines in which that could happen with best play from black. King e4, g6. King e5, king f7. Rook f1 suggests ancient attack and c complex. Rook f1, that's very deep. Rook f1, g6, king e4. King h7. Check. King g8. I don't know. To me, it feels like it's ending up in the same thing with the pawn promoting to a knight and getting that endgame. It doesn't feel like it's making a difference. And unless, of course, I can go king f4 afterwards, which I don't think I can. So rook f4, rook f1, g6, king e4, king h7, king f5, g7, check, And then I get the king. But then it's stalemate on g7. Then it's stalemate on g7 afterwards. Check. No, it's not stalemate on g7 because I can go... I can wait a move and then go rook on the h file and then go rook h7, in which case you don't have king h8. Okay. I guess I'm trusting you guys. Now I go king f, yeah, because if I check and then king g8, king f5, king f7. So in order to stop king f7, I need to go king f5 right now. And then I go check. Then I go king g6. And now I give this check. Yeah. And now the point being that king g8, if king g8 rook f7, then king h8 is a draw because there's a stalemate. But if king g8 now, I would go something like rook f2. Rook f2, king h8, rook h2 check. King g8 and then rook h7. And now white doesn't have the king h8 stalemate idea anymore. Okay, so rook f1 is the only way to win. That's interesting. Probably I should have known that already. But that's very interesting. You got it right, and it says lost. LOL, says Mateus. Yeah, no, this is the Norwegian language chess.com, in which it doesn't say lost, it says løst, which is the Norwegian word for solved. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, I guess I'm trying to win because I have two passed pawns, being a bit of a nuisance for black. So the question is, how am I doing this? I guess I'm going bishop f2. So bishop f2, bishop takes f2, e7. The only way to stop after the pawn after e7 is rook e3, but then you're blocking the bishop and I can go a7. So I needed to go bishop f2 first in order to make sure that the bishop isn't on d4 but on f2, so that the rook is blocking the diagonal. Pawn ending. Wow. If I mess up this, I'm gonna be properly embarrassed. Okay, so if I go king c3, king g5, king d4, king f4, then it's a Zugzwang. So if instead I go king b4, king g4, king c5, king f4, king d4, and he's in Zugzwang. So that was pretty easy. Zugzwang. And I win the pawn ending. I'm gonna say take this one and then knight g6. After all the exchanges on e6, I can give a check and knight f4. Okay, this is going pretty well, I would say. $31.70. 31.70. This is pretty good. I think that is what I said was the goal for the day. But I got another half hour to kill. I'm kind of scared of continuing, thinking that this cannot go any better, but I guess we're gonna see. You are sharp today, Hammer. Cheers from Trondheim, says PJ Uddy. Pujuddy. Wow, so that's how fast GMs do it, says Noki. That Thomas says, yeah, that is more than enough time to lose everything. Yeah, so in half an hour losing 40 points, I think I started out at 31, 35. More than enough time, I agree. But I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. I'm going to keep this good streak going. Bishop b6 feels like definitely the right first move. To be honest, I don't actually understand what the puzzle is. Bishop b6 feels like the right move, but it's not. I need to get a second passed pawn. So bishop takes f6 might be better. Bishop takes f6, then bishop e3 check, king e2. So bishop takes f6. If you take back, then a6, bishop d4, f6. And I have the two passed pawns I need. And the bishop is unable to stop both of them. So if I go bishop takes f6, he needs to go bishop e3. Bishop e3, and then king e2. b4 makes sense. Then if bishop takes g5, maybe b3, and suddenly black is the one with the furthest advanced passed pawn. Bishop b6, then probably bishop e5, a6, bishop b8. Yeah. Maybe there's some kind of Zugzwang. Bishop takes f6, bishop e3 check. Maybe I can even go king c3. King c3, king d5. No. Bishop takes f6, bishop e3 check. king e2, b4, bishop takes g5. b3. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Bishop f6, bishop e3, king c2 suggests outsmitter. Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of that. Well, basically, I'm afraid about the king going to d5 and then being inside the square of the a pawn. So the advantage of king e2 is the fact that by putting pressure on the bishop on e3, I can prevent the king from going back into defense at the cost of some other things. No, bishop b6, bishop e5, a6, bishop b8, king c3 is definitely a possibility. Something like king f3. In some cases, I can just go grab the pawn on b5 and put the king on b7 to force the bishop away. Why doesn't bishop b6 work? Asks Punar. Well, my issue is bishop b6, bishop e5, a6, bishop b8, and then black can go grab pawns on the king side. Bishop takes f6, bishop e3 check. Okay, maybe king c3, king d5, and just bishop back to d8. Renewing the threat of bishop b6. Just with this time you have two passed pawns, both on the a file and the f file. a6, then bishop takes f6, says Keresh. I don't see how that makes a difference to anything. I just think it limits my options. Yeah, I feel like I should take this one. Check. King c3. King King d5, bishop d8. I don't know. I like how Hammer in most tactics takes his time until he has mostly calculated it and doesn't rush out a move, says man from Utrecht. The ones where he does rush, he usually loses points. Yeah. No, you gotta make sure that you got your calculations in order. That's kind of the point of the exercise. Sometimes I rush it because I'm so certain I'm correct, and then I missed something very, very simple. But on the other hand, there are times I rush it and have the correct answer. So like the two previous puzzles, I had the correct answer immediately, 2 times in a row. So it works both ways. I think I'm going to take on f6 and go king c3. Although king e2 feels like more of a puzzle answer. These tactics are testing more calculation than pattern recognition, says Ancient Attack. Yeah, but I'm fine with that. I know a lot of patterns. It's calculation that I need. So for me, that suits me just perfectly. And I think to a certain degree, you will find more pattern recognition at the lower level puzzles. Cole Magnus suggests my teacher Sam. No, I think I can do it on my own. I'm not completely helpless. I'm gonna take it. And then it's just too bad if it's not the right call. Come on! You take back? Well, had I known that he was going to do that, I wouldn't have spent the entire day on this puzzle. What is going on? Okay, that was... I'm going to open this one up. Okay, so bishop takes f6. Bishop e3 check. Okay, so both king e2 and king c3 are good. But king c3, the one that I was intending, is the best one. And after king d5, I was going to go bishop d8. And the computer is not thrilled about that. But it says we'll probably get there in the end. Okay, so this was a tricky same colored bishop endgame, but in which black had the protected passed pawns. But it's not very helpful here because white has a passed pawn on both sides of the board. And you're going to have a lot of trouble stopping both of them. But I still maintain that taking back on f6 was not the reason I was spending 11 minutes on this one. Okay. Next one. There seems to be checkmate lurking. If I can just get this rook away, I can give f6 with checkmate. So then the question becomes, how can I get this rook to move? Rook f1 is very tempting. Rook f1, then maybe rook takes f7. Trying to do perpetual checks? No, it's not even close. Rook f1. Queen d3. Queen d3 threatens queen takes g6. Yeah, that makes sense. Rook f1, queen d3, queen e6 maybe? Nah, because then you have queen d4. How about queen d2? Queen d2 threatens rook takes g2 as well as queen d8 checkmate. Queen d2. Queen d2 going once, going twice. Sold. Although I remember what Mr. Utrecht just said, the ones where you go quickly are the ones you usually get wrong. That is so true. I'm gonna hold back queen d2 a little bit, but it does threaten queen d8 checkmate, as well as rook takes g2. Nah, I'm gonna do it. After the warning, even after the warning, man. Rook takes f2. King takes f2. Oh no, rook takes... Yeah, no, I forgot about the check on b7. I was just thinking that I stopped the check on d5, and also queen b3 was not something to be afraid of. But yeah, maybe rook takes f7 and then queen b7, king e8. Queen b... Even then, I don't really see how he's avoiding the queen exchange. Okay, I think I didn't understand a single one of those moves. I think I genuinely did not understand a single one of those moves. Okay. So queen e6 is the best move because it prevents perpetual check with rook takes f7. And why can you not play this move? Okay, it's checkmate. I guess that's a good enough explanation. Although I don't really understand how you get to that checkmate, but that's another matter. King h4, then queen f6. Just chasing the king back, and if king h8, h2, then queen a1. But what was wrong with my move? Queen d2. Takes, check. Here. Queen e4. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Queen e4 avoids the exchange of queens on the d file. Queen e4 is gonna do it. Okay, 15 more minutes. 3170, still within reach. Rook c8 looks like a pretty strong move. Rook c8 takes, rook e8 takes, d7. D7, knight d6 takes on b7 with a new queen. So this one first, right? Yeah. Okay, the quick revenge. The quick revenge. And now another study. This is going to be stalemate somehow. So c6, bishop g4, c7, knight b7, king c6, knight a5, king b5, knight b3, it's not really gonna work. So c6 has to be the first move. c6, bishop g4. King b6. King takes g6. c6, bishop g4, c7, knight b7, king c6, knight a5, king b5, knight b3. I don't see how I'm gonna get a stalemate. Yeah, we're fighting for a draw. I think stalemate isn't the goal. It's more like to take a piece, says Gnocchi. Yeah, I guess you're probably right. or more of a positional stalemate kind of thing. c6, bishop g4, king b6, then king takes g6 to give the knight a square on f7. No, I got it. c6, bishop g4, c7, knight b7, queens on c8, bishop takes back, and then king b6. And there's no way of stopping king c7 on the next move. No, because he has knight d6 check, so I should have gone c8 with a knight. c8 with a knight, and then I stop knight d6, and then I go king b6. I had the right move and I messed it up. The knight. Yeah, the knight. I could have. Why did I queen? I should have gotten a knight. Knight, then bishop takes, then king b6, and king c7 next move. How did I only get 19%? Because I'm spending so much time. Yeah. Yeah. I had it. I got too excited about getting it that I didn't see the nuance that I had to get a knight on c8. So I had the right idea, but wrong execution. Okay, this one I really think I'm gonna win. This one has win written all over it. Even just taking this guy seems to be winning instantly. Even taking this guy. But this feels like the right idea. So this, and then he has to go queen c7. How can only one move be winning here? It feels like there's so many winning ideas. Okay, take queen c7. b4 seems to win on the spot. Well, b4, king takes. What is the follow-up? I'm not sure. King takes. King b2 maybe? Nah, that's too much. King takes. Yeah, I don't see it. So it takes queen c7. Maybe he's able to run away. b4, king takes. see it. B4 king takes a3, some people are suggesting. a3, what is the point of a3? I guess you take on a3 as well. I don't see it. I've gone from thinking there must be many ways for white to win this, and now I'm thinking, how on earth do I get anything here? Takes queen c7. I really thought this was going to be an easy one, but here I sit. Here I sit struggling. B4 check, king takes. Maybe then I take on d5 with check. King back to c5. And now this one is threatened. And I have knight b6. I have knight b6. Knight b6. Yes, knight b6. I have knight b6, and if he goes there, I go back. Yes. Okay, got it. Got there in the end. Okay, it's 7 p.m. I guess I'm scheduled to stop right now, but I'm gonna do one last puzzle. No, I'm not, because it's nice to finish on a win. Ooh, am I gonna do one more? Am I not gonna do one more? No, I'm happy to finish. I'm happy to finish with a solve. I made the mistake with Helm's Knight the other day to just go one more game for luck. And then she ended up disconnecting, and it was such a bad call. So I'm not gonna make that same mistake. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. 31-62. I'm very happy with how this day has gone by. Prustino asks, please explain this one. Yeah, we can explain this one instead of doing one more. Okay, so b4 forks the knight, the king and queen. If queen takes, then we have knight d3 check. So king takes is the only move. And having the king here gives me the opportunity of eliminating the bishop with a check. And now, if he goes king a3, then there's knight c4 with the check on the queen and the king. If he goes king takes a4, there's knight c3 check. And whether you go b4 or a3 doesn't really matter, because if king b4, then knight c6, there's a fork. And also if king a3, then there's a different fork between the king and the queen. So we are left with king c5. And after king c5, I have the move knight b6. And the point is that, well, every single move black can make puts him in a situation where white can fork the king and queen. So if king b4, then knight c6. If king d4, then also knight c6. If king d6, then knight c4. If king takes b6, then also knight c4. So all of the king moves are eliminated, and then we have the queen moves. The pawn on a4 is protected by the knight, so the knight is actually doing an important defensive job that way. If queen takes b6, then knight d7, as we saw in the main line. Queen b4, there's a knight d3 check. And at last, if queen e1, there's also knight d3 check. So this is a Zugzwang, meaning that if it were black to move, he wouldn't have any problems. But he has a problem because it's white to move. So I think if it were white to move this position, I think black would... No, actually, if it was white to move, the knight d7 would still force the king onto a square. That's going to give a fork. So this is just not a Zugzwang, but it's a winning position. Yeah, no, white to move, maybe a3, but knight d7 is going to do the trick as well. The power of the knights, says the man from Utrecht. Yeah, that is true. And there's many, I think this guy Horvitz, it says here, Horvitz, his study, there's a lot of people who were doing some really nice studies in chess. And these guys were doing it in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So there's a lot of really cool puzzles that has been around for 100 years, and some even more than that. So that was it from my puzzle session. I'm traveling for the next 2 weeks, but I might try to get some of the Arena King tournaments in. So if you haven't seen, chess.com has announced a new format for the Arena Kings. It's going to be a kind of qualifying system for the tri-month, no, it's not bi-monthly, but it's every 3 months. There will be a Royal Arena Kings Arena with the top streamers from the Arena Kings. So I'm going to post the news item in the chat. And there's the details about the new Arena Kings format. And I'm gonna be trying to play some of them while on the road. So tomorrow I'll be back at 8:30 p.m. Oslo time, which is 2:30 Eastern, and I'm gonna be playing in Bergen in the Arena Kings tournament. So some of you may have seen my streams from San Francisco. It doesn't look quite the same way. It's a bit more improvised and weaker CPU and so on and so forth. But it's going to be good still. And there's going to be tough competition in the Arena Kings tournament. So that is my next stream. I hope to see you then. And until then, goodbye everyone.